Hey AfterBuzzers, thank you so much for tuning in to the Orphan Black After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. Tonight, we'll be discussing Season 4, Episode 6, The Scandal of Altruism. And we have a very special guest here tonight, so stay tuned to see who it is.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I know you're gonna set your gun, but I can sing it. That's right, guys. Goodbye to Kendall. We are so sorry to see her go. Thank you all for tuning in to the Orphan Black After Show at AfterBuzz TV. I am your host, Sam Davidson, and as many of you guys know, we have an awesome guest here with us. We love to hate Miss Evie Cho, aka Jocelyn Wanlin. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. So excited to be here. Thank you.
And guys, nicest girl in the world, honestly. She's an amazing actress because she is so kind. So, Jocelyn, where can everyone find you on social media and start following you, getting to know you?
I am at Jocelyn Wanlum on everything.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. So guys, start following her because we're excited to see what happens on the rest of this journey. And again, I'm Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. I have a full panel here with me tonight. And we also have the live chat going over here.
Yes, send us your questions.
Yeah, please do. And we have your guys' Twitter questions as well. Hashtag ABTV Ask Evie. Guys, introduce yourselves. Let us know where we can find you on Twitter.
Hi, I'm Joelle Monique, and you can find me everywhere at Joelle Monique.
Hi, I'm Amanda Richards. I'm happy to be back. You can find me at AmandaFTA31 everywhere.
Hey, I'm Kelly McInerney. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HollyWeirdo or Snapchat, Kelly McInerney with 3 L's.
Yeah, she's the Snapchat queen over here. So am I, by the way.
Queens.
You guys, tonight's episode was super intense, but amazing. What general thoughts here? What do we think?
Favorite episode of the season so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now
So
what?
good.
Now what? That's how
They're screwed.
They are not in a good place. We do not end well.
It's definitely one of the best, and I love this season so far. Has just been absolutely amazing because they really are taking it back to the basics and just getting back to a solid plot line, knowing exactly what's going on. So I'm loving it.
Yeah. So, did you, Jocelyn, before the show started and you got cast and everything, this season started, I mean, did you watch Orphan Black at all? Were you familiar?
I did.
Oh, wow, so you were a fan.
Well, so I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon because I was like, when is it airing? I have no idea what's going on. So then I watched season 3 after I got the show. So I had to catch myself up. I didn't know what was going on, and then I still didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Season 3 was so confusing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on.
I agree with you about season 3, and I feel like this season they needed to bring it back to basics, but also bring in like a new, but not new, because you really were in this from the start.
Right.
Like a new villain.
It kind of just came back full circle for everybody.
Yeah.
Now they have answers to a lot of the questions that they had from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool to be a part of.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I even like how Evie's motive just to destroy everything, you know, because it was too complicated like you said last season. Now it's just like, let's just get rid of it.
Right. And now we finally know where Beth went when she was out of the video, or a little bit more than we had known before. That was because that video we've seen so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's great to know what was going on.
Well, let's talk about Beth, because we kind of start with her and we end with her. So we're going to start about, what they did at the beginning and then what we found out at the end. So we found out that Beth knew Evie, and they were kind of working together because she was going to have her kill Susan, essentially. So they thought...
Manipulated her.
Yes.
And Evie is basically, I would say, the most person that's responsible for Beth's death, because she literally said, like, you should die.
She said,
But it's also Beth's, demons inside her, where she feels like she can't do what she wanted to do in this whole, trying to find Susan and trying to just solve everything for everybody.
Yeah.
And, it's not all my fault. That's what I'm saying. It's not all my fault.
Well, that's of course what the character would say, that, which means like you're doing your job. You're thinking, because I'm sure that you as an actor feel as though, well, Evie is evil, but she might have some reasonings behind her evilness, even if they're not justified.
It was funny because when I was doing the show, when we were shooting, I I didn't think of her as an awful human being. I knew that her actions were gonna have consequences or, you know, upset people, but I didn't necessarily, in my mind, as Evie Cho playing her, that, you know, she's just a terrible person. Because, you know, for me, in my point of view, I was like, well, my truth is that this is what my science is, and this is what I believe in. So I didn't think it was that, obviously.
Yeah. Wow.
But other people seem to think.
Yeah, you know, you're responsible apparently for some stuff. I don't know. We'll get into, like, because there's other storylines you're tied into too now with your past, and it's just cool because it's like they're writing a whole book on you. It's like you could almost have your own show of everything that you've been doing, the character, and how they felt. So, you know, Beth, we see Susan in the flashback at the beginning too with Beth, and Susan, when Beth goes to put her at gunpoint, and, you know, Susan explains who she is, Beth backs down, and Susan makes it like she really loves the sisters. And that if it wasn't her, it would be someone else, aka you.
Right.
But she's the only one that really cares for them. Do you guys think that was true, or her just not wanting to get shot in the head?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I think she does love what she created them, you know? That she's the mom. So she has, like, the nurturing, and, like, she wants them to live. And we see that she does really love one of them, you know, Ira.
Well, I feel like she loves them like a God on high, like, because she's so callous with their lives, like, because it's to serve a greater purpose. So I don't know if she can love them as individuals, but I think she loves watching them grow. I think she feels a responsibility to them as a whole as opposed to the individual. So I don't know. I think Susan's confused about a lot of things.
No, I agree with you about that. I think that that Susan really believes that she's doing something for the greater good, and she's changing, or she's helping with the science of genetics, and it's like everything that happens, one person dead is not as bad as helping the greater good. That's what they keep thinking. So it's almost like she's not trying to be a bad person. It's just that she is a bad person.
Yeah.
Moral of this, like, episode, all the bad people aren't trying to be bad. They're just, you know,
they're doing their thing.
They're just being scientists. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, the Detective Duco had a really interesting line. I forgot what it was. At the end, you know, he just kind of said, I'm in a bad position. I just kind of have to do what I have to do to save people. And I think that at the end of the day, that's a lot of the antagonist's, you know, motive. But I will say, though, Susan was so cruel to Rachel, who's the one she actually raised. And it's like, how could you be so evil? Because she's supposed to be the most, like, the one that's actually your daughter.
But I feel like that comes from a place of, like, parents who have such high expectations for their children sometimes aren't the most affectionate, because I expect you to excel. And so I'm going to push and lean on you until you achieve the things I know that you're capable of. And I really feel like that's her relationship.
Yeah, and I see, what is it? Ash Ebot said, if she loves them, why did Helsinki happen? Where was Susan? Okay, I did it again. Damn it, Helsinki.
That hooked on phonics, I feel you in the same way.
Where was Susan then? So, very good point. On that note, you know, I just want to, there was a fun part of this episode. This episode was very dramatic. But we had Crystal, who... I
love her.
Oh,
so
God.
great.
I think she might be, like, my new favorite clone.
Yeah.
And did you guys know, apparently, that clone was kind of created by Tatiana when they were just, like, ad-libbing last season with the Caster clones. They were... Of course. Yeah, and she kind of created it because After the Black, which is, you know, the after show on BBC after the show, BBC America, that's what the guy that plays the Caster clone said, which is really cool because she was just kind of messing around, and then they discovered Crystal, who is amazing, and she thinks that the makeup,
cosmetic
industry, what is it, Vassan Saloon or
Vidal?
Yeah, they're like an actual, like, shampoo makeup company. She's legit thinks, and she has some of it right. That's the thing. She's not totally stupid and totally off.
She's just clueless and in the dark. Like, she can't make the connections that they've been able to make because they have, like, a whole network of clones helping them out, and she's just doing this by herself. But I'm kind of surprised at how accurate she's been able to get some of the stuff down.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. And Art is there, and it's so when he sees her in the police station,
oh my gosh,
and he hears the voice, and he just is like, what? And he goes and looks, and it's her, and she's like, you know, they're after me, the cosmetic industry. And I mean, at this, I just want her to join the club. Really?
Yeah.
What do you guys feel?
I feel like she needs to join the club. She's in danger. And I know they think that they're doing, like, and it feels, thematically, like, these are all the right steps to keep her out of trouble. Like, we need to keep her kind of ignorant and away from everybody, and, you know, she will protect her. But I think that by keeping her out of Clone Club, that they're putting her in more danger, because she's clearly not going to stop asking questions. And she keeps ending up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. Like, she's a disaster waiting to happen. I feel like they need to take her under wing. Maybe give her to S, get some life lessons. A little S boot camp.
Yeah, S can just make everything better.
I believe that's true.
I think maybe they will, though, because she knows about Delphine. Like,
yeah.
So maybe...
And what a cliffhanger that was.
Yeah. Well, on that note, you know, Delphine, she tells Art and Felix, because Felix comes into the equation as well, and it's funny, he forgot that he had robbed her, and and then she maced him. And they mention Delphine, and she says, oh, I was there. I saw it happen. You know, she was shot. And there's
not killed in her words yet.
Exactly. And there is literally a Twitter account that has commented, thank you so much, a ton with our stuff. That is basically Delphine is alive, I think, or something like that. Yeah, Delphine. That's Delphine is alive is the Twitter name. But she could. They never say that she's dead exactly.
Didn't Evie say she was shot dead?
She was shot and killed, like without any questions.
But she wasn't there, right?
Right. But and that's why there's a lot of questions, because Perky Clone, whose name suddenly escapes me. Crystal says, I saw everything. Now, everything implies to me that it's more than just, like, she was shot and killed. Like, or otherwise, why not just say, like, oh, I saw her die, like, it was horrible. I really feel like there's something else, and Delphine is smart, has a lot of knowledge, a lot of the knowledge that was recently just erased. I feel like her being gone forever is not gonna I do believe she's alive somewhere.
No. Yeah.
Being kept on ice, maybe. I don't know. They're winter soldiering her.
I know, but I can't tell you.
I was just about to ask. I was going to say, do you know anything?
Maybe after the cameras go off, inside scoop.
Dead. I'm going to go with that one. Continue to go with that one.
Well, then that makes me feel good a little bit. Because
we've actually got a couple...
I feel like we're doing reverse psychology.
We've got a lot of questions in the chat. A lot of people are asking, why didn't Evie just have Dooku kill the clones he interacted with?
You know, that would have been a simpler solution to everything. But, you know, obviously that's not... I don't think that's what the show's about. I don't think there's, like, an enemy that actually overtakes any of them, ultimately. So I think killing Kendall was the one most important clone for me to get rid of.
And the other clones aren't going to survive long anyway, if history has been proof. Ian, why bloody up the streets? Why like put yourself in harm's way? You got rid of the person you got rid of.
Why would Evie kill Cosima there when Cosima's already sick?
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to them, you know, Sarah goes and destroys all of the DNA. So
oh God, what a nightmare!
You know, I kind of have everything packaged really well.
Yeah. And I just want to say, because we're going to cover this part at the end, but I'm just really happy that I know where Evie's scar came from, because when they went, because I was just like, what? Did that girl get pistol whipped? I think I literally like said it as a joke. I was watching it with people, but you know, she did.
Which is great, because doesn't she turn that into a story earlier on about like her genetic, like growing up and being sick? Like this is a scar from that.
Wasn't that true though, right?
That was no, when you first meet me in the beginning of the season,
you don't have the scar.
I don't have a scar.
Yeah.
So that was the result of Beth.
Oh, right, because I you know, we all get confused at the time, because for us, it's been almost 4 years of watching this show.
You got to think though, it's probably been over
6 months.
Yeah,
I think that's what we figured out is 6 months. So it's different, and it's like, oh, how is this new person being introduced? No, it's only been 6 months. There's bound to be a ton of new people being introduced. Let's get into Sarah, because obviously she's the core of everything of the episode. You know, they kidnap Susan, bring her to Felix's, and basically just, you know, kind of try to break her down and ask her everything that they need to know. And Kendall is there, and that meet was very funny, I thought.
I liked it.
Yeah. It, you know, Kendall, she was like, Susan was excited to meet Kendall, and Kendall was like, of course, freaking terrified.
Yeah.
As she should be.
And grouchy.
Yeah.
And Kendall is grouchy.
Classic Kendall.
Yeah.
She's an old lady, you know? She probably has pains that we don't have, you know?
Well, she's sick though.
Yeah.
She's always smoking a cigarette. Like,
Well, and this is the person who's chased her literally around the world, like, trying to kill her, trying to kill, like, the clones who she's now referring to as her daughters. Like, she has a lot of reason to, and I'm sure under different circumstances, she would try to just stab this chick in the eye. Like, she would be like, we just need to end this. I don't even know why we're dealing with her, except for this is the only opportunity to save the clones, so there's a lot of tension in that room.
Yeah, and you know, it's like back to Crystal for a second. Just in general, all these clones, no matter how, even if there's thousands, which God I hope not, but you have to feel love for any of them if you're a clone, and that's how Kendall feels about all of them, and in a way, that's how Susan feels. But there's so many of them. I mean, it's crazy, and I'm glad that Rachel is there because, you know, Rachel's like the bad one of the clones. But, God, there's bound to be more. Right. There has to be. But, you know, we see Sarah get her little thing taken out by Evie.
Oh my
that was a tough scene to watch.
It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you love all
I
that
love gore. So
it wasn't as bad as, like, the semen one.
last week, though, was pretty gross.
much worse than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and then the semen one a couple weeks ago when, like, Donnie is, like, masturbating, and then they show, like...
The worm.
Yeah, that was so gross. But, you know, Evie agrees to take it out of her cheek, and Cosima goes to kind of be her spotter because, you know, they're getting what they need from Kendall. And, you know, if she moves, she dies, blah, blah, blah. My biggest question that I was kind of confused about was when she takes it out, Evie says something like, well, she kind of did something wrong, or it's not exactly correct. Like, so when she took it out, was it the way they expected it to be?
No, it was leaking.
Yeah, it was leaking.
So then she put the swab over it. To, like,
And I think this is from when she went to the crap.
Yeah, that
girl.
Yeah.
And then she was poking around trying to take it out, and I think she might have damaged it before. Because I think we see Sarah go a little bit, like, health-wise down after that incident. Like, things get crazy, she starts making a lot of irrational decisions. So yeah, that's when I thought it was damaged anyway.
Okay, so you thought the poison could have been part of the reason why she's been acting so impulsive?
I think so, a little bit. I know that they said that it was trying to kill her so they could isolate, like, what it was that was hurting the clones. But I really hope so, because she's been acting really, really crazy, and I would really like it if there was an excuse for that.
Yeah. She has been acting crazy. She's usually my favorite clone, but in the past couple episodes, I've kind of been like, what are you doing, Sarah?
It's crazy stuff.
I think it's a little crazy, yeah.
Though the maggot bot was ruptured when Evie was taking it out, though.
You think she did it
You think Evie did it on purpose to kill her?
No.
I would never do that. Like, it might have happened if it was the other lady assisting.
Yeah, I mean, this was shot, I don't even remember. This was like November or December of my life. So it's foggy, but I don't know. Evie's intention was definitely not to affect Sarah in that way, because she still had to get her side
and to
of
destroy
everything. It was, you know, it was a barter.
Yeah.
So if I didn't do my job, then I would never, you know, I wouldn't, the story would not have developed.
Well, on that note, I know someone here, let's see, they had a question. I had the same question. How cool and interesting was it to shoot that scene with two of the clones?
That was so awesome and nerve-wracking and just confusing all at once, because they have a camera called the Techno Dolly. It's a very expensive camera that they have to rent out, and it took almost the whole day to shoot that one scene because she has to change over, and we had to do you splice it up into the actual scene, and you have Catherine, who's playing her double, playing the other clone, and then you're doing some audio work, and then you're doing some miming, because you have to, everything just has to kind of, like, you have to cover every boundary. And then we swap it over and we redo the whole thing.
Do you guys do it by camera setup? So it's like this shot, and then she runs out, changes into the next clone's costume, and then switch that way?
We do the whole thing with Sarah first, or is it Sarah first, or whatever? And then we swap it over.
Got
the
it.
Techno Dolly basically memorizes the movement of the whole scene.
So
that you're getting kind of like a map of the camera movement.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And then, you know, when we have our coverage, then obviously then we can use a regular camera for that. But it's a whole ordeal. It
Wow.
was so cool.
So you really have to do the exact same movements every single time.
Yeah, in terms of
Wow.
yeah, it's very technical, and that was the most challenging part because you still have to keep it as authentic as possible.
Right.
But it was a really hard scene to do because I was kind of just flustered with, oh my god, there's this new thing that you can't talk and I can't talk, but we have our voices in our earpiece, and so
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, so it was just kind of mechanical, but it was really cool because, you know, the FX guy was on set the whole day, Jeff Scott, bless his heart, he's so amazing at what he does. He does all of the special effects. He's like the head guy to make sure that everything looks super real. So it was such a cool day. I was kind of like, oh my god, this is so cool. I get to play with 2 clones.
Yeah, it was fun. And I mean, I'm sure that she's amazing to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Does she go into character, like, does she, when the camera comes off, if she's Cosima, does she act differently than if she's Sarah? Or is it like, once there's a cut, it's back to Tatiana and it's a completely different person?
I mean, when she's Sarah, she's talking with her accent throughout.
Wow.
When she was Beth, because Beth was kind of like new to her because she died in the first season, she kind of had to bring this character to life this season 4.
Right.
So a lot of the time when I was working with Beth, I just let her do her thing because she was still trying to find. I don't know what she was doing, but I was just trying to give her space in order to like do the performance that she does so brilliantly, you know. But she's definitely Tatiana, the coolest scene partner, actor. I mean, you could possibly ever ask for.
God.
I think that's why we all started watching the show. A lot of the reason is because she's just so brilliant. And it's been so great to watch Crystal come because it's interesting. I start to forget that all the clones are Tatiana.
Me too.
Like, I start to just, they're like, Alison and Cosima are so different to me that it's like, I almost completely forget it's the same person. But now that Crystal's back, again, I'm like, Jesus, she's a good actress. I mean,
And Mika.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mika, she's cool too.
And Helena.
Yeah, I mean, they're all
it's
amazing.
insane. It's insane.
I keep on saying every time I watch, I'm like, oh God, I need to email the actress that plays the publicist of them to, and I'm like, duh, no, Sam, the same actress.
It's the same person.
And
The fact she hasn't won an Emmy yet.
yeah,
Or
she was just nominated
She was nominated.
for the first time.
Just once, yeah.
Finally.
Bastards.
But her list of characters was like 7.
Yeah, it's just like she's too good for the Emmys, basically, because she plays so many people and they're not smart enough to figure it out. Well, on that note, you know,
Tell us how you really
speaking of smart, we'll get into Cosima, who really had a big storyline and a really awful time.
It's a bad day for Cosima.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me guys just ask you a general question. What are your feelings about Scott?
I know a lot of people think that he's
too nice to be true.
What? Sorry, that would come as such a shock to me if that was revealed that Scott was not completely in the clones' corner. I would be on the floor. I don't even know.
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I think he's a ally.
I hope so.
I think he's too basic to be evil. Isn't his name like Scott Smith or something? Like something so...
Which is exactly why it's like a fake name and he's evil.
All right. I kind of get that now that you say that.
The fan board just lit up. I love Scott. Scott is legit. Scotty is the best. We don't want this. I don't like this fan theory at all.
If Scott were ever to be a part of like the evil side, I think he'd already be dead because he couldn't handle it.
Probably. Someone just needs to have sex with him then, because what is he getting out of all of this, honestly?
What friendship and love and a cool project to work on.
Yeah.
Like, he was gonna like try to help cure her, and even I loved that moment when he was like, we would have done it if we had enough time.
Yeah.
We just,
Yeah, I
Well,
wrote
guys,
that down.
I see you. I am... Okay, someone said Scott is 100% on Lita's side.
wow.
I love the character, and I think it would make him an even more fascinating character.
Yeah.
And cool if he was possibly on the other side or playing both sides, you know, a double agent.
It would be a great twist. My heart does not want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would break my heart.
It's like he's kind of, in a way, her Felix, I think. They're kind of like brother and sister kind of.
I know. I'm just like, oh,
I
maybe
don't
they'll
want
get
that.
together before she dies. Hopefully not, but wait, she's a lesbian. Just kidding.
It didn't appear that he was getting a lot out of Lita prior to, like, when they first started, like, working together. And it took a lot of coaxing to get him to help her and kind of be like go against Lita's word, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Like I think it was kind of a process. So I don't know. This show, anything can happen. I don't want to say definitively like no, but I feel in my heart like Scott's a good guy.
All right. Well,
So I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. He's a good
I
guy.
think that maybe he got coaxed and then came back to our side. I don't know. We shall see. I just kind of wanted to know if I wasn't crazy, which I don't think I'm totally crazy.
No, I don't need you off the mark.
Yeah.
Evie thinks you're crazy.
And then, you know, with Cosima, she's all involved with the Kendall stuff. And I saw in the scene from last week, you know, we see Cosima crying, and it's very upsetting. And now we know why she was so upset. You know, Cosima to Susan is an asset, which I think is fascinating. Because she is, and I'm glad that Susan recognizes that. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that the reason Cosima is still alive is because she is an asset? Why wouldn't Evie and Detective Duco have just really killed her when they brought Kendall out there in that field?
I think Evie wants to, like, she likes to make him suffer a little bit. Like, she's already, like you said, she already killed the, no.
I killed the one that I needed to kill.
Yeah.
She's
Don't have to get your hands that dirty.
She has both the genetics of Castor and Lita.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I needed. Everybody else can just go.
Yeah, Cosima's sick
get
anyway.
mad
Yeah, I
or
think Cosima's on her way
cry.
out the door anyway.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel like she has a lot of time. They just lost all of their research. Like, killing her and leaving a body would just be, I think, like another thing to have to worry about cleaning up later.
Yeah. If Cosima dies at the end of the season, I'm gonna be heartbroken.
I just feel it so strongly that it's coming, and Cosima's my favorite clone, and
She's
not
my favorite
prepared.
too.
I'm not prepared for that.
A lot of us and the fans, they want to know, like, personally, who is your favorite clone?
Oh, right now it's absolutely Crystal. Because I've seen her in person, and it is a trip. Watching
her, I love it. It's like another person.
No, it's just so funny because when she changes over from like Sarah to Crystal, first of all, Crystal takes a long time to get ready. She's spray tanned, and her nails and her hair and everything, and her personality is just hilarious. Like you can't make that up.
Yeah, I like the way the guys treat her like way differently. Like Donnie in the massage parlor scene from last week was like, this is a weird sexy doll version of my wife. You know? And then Arthur being like, how much do you really know? Not that much. Okay. And I feel like we kind of had talked before about how his reaction to Beth and Sarah, and how it felt like maybe he was like replacing some of those feelings he had for Beth with Sarah. And then to see his total just be like, no, not this one, not ever. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious, and especially just because, you know, she isn't stupid, and it's just, she's absolutely fascinating to watch.
And she's a really complex
She
character.
better not die.
I just thought, when we were just offset, and I was watching her do her thing as Crystal, but she was Snapchatting. She was dub smashing, and she was dub smashing Kim Kardashian. She was totally kind of just doing her thing as Kim Kardashian, but as Crystal, and it was just hysterical just watching her just do her like bubblegum pop and everything. So I just fell in love with her off camera for that reason.
Okay,
I would kill to be on that set. I would love to be on that set.
That would be amazing. That would be so cool. Where Evie comes in again, though, with this storyline with Cosima, is that she, after they kill Kendall, you know, we don't need to go into the bloody details, but yeah, they did. And Cosima, she tells Cosima that she saw Delphine die. Mm-hmm. So my question exactly, was that Evie? Was that all Evie setting that up to kill Like, what part did Evie take in the death of Delphine, or the potential death of Delphine?
I think I have a lot of pawns in my chess game.
Mm-hmm.
So I just snap my finger and something happens.
So you snapped your finger, though. That was you.
I always snap my finger. That's how I get things done. These girls don't get touched.
Yeah. I mean, in the back of that limo, though, we have people asking, like, what was it like to be pistol whipped by Beth?
Oh my gosh. That was a really exhausting night. It was freezing cold, first of all, because we're shooting in the dead of winter in Toronto, and it was ice cold. But it was just really intense because there were a lot of, you know, technical things in terms of angles and where it was the best to place the camera and where I was gonna get hit and all this stuff. So, but in the end, it kind of just worked out. It was nerve-wracking. Both of us were really nervous, I think.
I don't want to hurt you.
I know. At one point, she had her hand around my throat, and I was like, this is not safe. I don't feel good with that. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But yeah.
She's like, what?
She's like, what works for you then? I'm like, anywhere but here.
Well, you know, on that note, I think an interesting question kind of to ask, because we see a little bit of humanity, kind of.
Right.
You know, when she tells Cosima that, and after Kendall dies, and even when they set the truck or the van on fire with Kendall, you see Evie like wince, you know, like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't like what I have to do. I'm not purely evil. I feel awful that this is what it's come to, but I'm kind of a means to an end character. So whatever I have to do, I gotta do. And, you know, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, well, I'm glad that registered, because I do have some sort of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, we'll now, I guess, officially get into the beatdown. You know, we got the, like, background of the behind-the-scenes thing. So we find out toward the end of the episode that Beth, you know, doesn't kill Susan, obviously, and comes back and puts a gun to Evie's head, and Evie tells her just, you know, it would be best for you. She mentions Paul and Alison and Cosima, everybody that she loves, like, they will die if you don't. So that must have been, first of all, a really intense scene, like we talked about, to shoot, but secondly, why? Why is that Beth needed to die? Because she was too close? Because she knew too much?
All of the above, I think. I think she was getting in over her head. One person trying to conquer this whole conglomerate of a problem is too much for one person to handle. So I think ultimately my character just had to, you know, let her know that if you don't do it, if I don't do it, somebody else is. If you don't, you know, if you don't kill Susan, I will, or something.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, Susan has the epiphany too during the episode. She's like, oh shit, Evie is been plotting against me this whole time. So it must have been fun doing some of those scenes with her.
Oh, Rosemary was a dream to work with.
She's a fantastic actress.
She's brilliant. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that scene with Beth when she was getting held at gunpoint, I was
oh my gosh.
wow.
Yeah, that come to Jesus moment where she was like, this is it, I'm dead now. It was perfect. I'm really glad they held that really tight on her face for a while. It worked.
Do you think that Evie knows or knew about Beth's like drug issues? Do you think that she knew that she was kind of an unstable person and that helped her convince her? I
think Beth does a good job at lying.
Yeah. That
I don't really pay attention to that because I'm so self-centered. I don't really know. I don't think that would ever cross my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have a lot of questions from fans that used our hashtag ABTV Ask Evie, which is amazing. I'm going to ask you some of the best ones.
Okay.
Delphine is alive.
Of course.
Our fave.
Yeah. What attracted you to the role of Evie to start with? And we knew this. Did you watch Orphan Black before your character was introduced? So we know the first part of that answer, and the second part.
What attracted me to the role? I mean, just the fact that I got to play such a powerful human being kind of just made me go, wow, this is scary. But at the same time, I had no idea what was going on because the creators were kind of just going as we were moving along. So there was no definite result for me. I had no idea what was going to happen.
So did you get the new script every week or something?
Well, some scripts would come to me the day before or the day of. And which is always fun and a challenge because you want to bring your best foot forward. And I just think it was more just a fear of doing such a hyped up show that it's an amazing cult classic show right now, and it's to be a part of that. I think I was kind of like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, I was given an amazing opportunity, so I was just floored that they said, "Hey, we want you." Like, really? For this? It was unreal. Honestly, I had no idea I would get this part.
You're like, but I'm so nice. And, okay, so OB Trash, who is Steph M. Bird, asked you that you bring such a genuine depth to an evil character. Do you have a favorite moment from the Orphan Black set?
I think it was last week's episode 5, where Cosima just came out of seeing the baby, and Susan brings her into my office, and we kind of have like this stare off for a second. That was one of the scenes that was rewritten numerous times, and we had no idea what was going on. So I would just sit back and wonder. But when we actually got onto it, we were playing around, rehearsing, and I think Rosemary, Tat, me, we were all just like staring at each other. And it was one of those, we didn't even get out of character when we were not rolling. And it was one of those moments where I was like, this is kind of the set that I would want to be on every day, because everybody was just trying to make this scene work, because we knew that it was important for everybody to understand. So like we were just literally playing like staring contest for the whole time. So that was probably my most memorable moment on set, because I just knew that I was in really good hands.
Yeah, you're kind of making history there. I mean, I think I sometimes can't even believe not every person in the world watches this show. And I don't understand why they don't. And I swear, you know, like 10 years from now or something, it's going to be like, oh my God, have you guys heard of Orphan Black? Like, it's crazy. There's this actress who plays everybody, and it's insane. And I'm like, hello, people, pay attention right now.
Yeah. No, she's kind of amazing. You kind of just go, oh, when you're in her presence, but she's down to earth and everything too.
Oh God, cool. Can't even. I would like die to meet her. Okay, so Sapurus06 said, will we find out more about Evie's backstory in upcoming episodes, or mostly just her role going forward?
You will find out a little bit more. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
I'm excited.
And this is a good question, because I've had this question. What do you think of the theories of Evie being behind Delphine's fate? Was it revenge or something? And I'm going to add to this question because, I don't know, I kind of might have got a lesbian vibe from Evie. Maybe like a little bit. So, and I know even if I'm wrong, like you can't answer me probably, but could she have been a past lover of Delphine's? Or, because for a second I was like, whoa, her and Cosima, and then I'm like, well, Cosima would never. Jesus Christ, But I mean, what do you know any of the history, or can tell us with Delphine?
I couldn't even put a finger on it. Honestly, that's probably not even on Evie's radar.
Evie's
at
got
all.
goals.
Yeah, she's got like a list of things to check off, and I don't think lesbianism or Delphinism in any of those categories.
All right, okay, just, getting a little creative.
Sam's thinking way into this.
I mean, how else are you supposed to watch this show?
That's true.
This is true. You can only think about it in its layers.
That's true.
I know that, do you guys have any, specific questions that you personally want to ask as a fan?
We've been getting a lot of questions about Asian representation in cinema and television, and we know it's just not where it needs to be. I guess, do you have comments on that, or do you think, are there any roles that are exciting to you out there that you're like, man, I'd really like to play that? How can we get you more on TV?
On me? I mean, this was great enough. I'm fine with Orphan Black. No, but I guess because this casting office was really colorblind to seeing my tape and being I wasn't even there. I wasn't even in person. I had no idea who these ladies were before I even met them. I had no idea, and so I think it's kind of amazing that an Asian woman actually got to play this part as opposed to somebody else. But at the same time, I go in for things that are not for Asians all the time, and I end up getting the part, so it's kind of cool.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool too that we've got a lot of great female villains on this show, which I mean, with the whole, if you don't know if you guys follow Marvel news, but like Iron Man 3 was supposed to have female villain. They're like, the toys won't sell, and it's like, I will be there. I love a good female villain, and
I mean,
they're so awesome.
I got my 10 toys if I have to.
Whatever I need to do.
Exactly. I mean, I've played villains before, and they're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the funnest to play.
They
apparently.
are. I mean, I have a blast playing evil people.
I mean, clearly you're smashing it on Orphan Black. It's wonderful.
And some of the fans said evil Cho.
I know.
Oh my gosh, what?
Get it?
I love you all, but that's mean. Nah.
Can you go more into depth just about the casting process and how you said you just sent in a tape? Was there any sort of like producer session or
No.
Skype session?
Nothing.
It was just a tape.
I literally put myself on tape in my bedroom
Wow.
with a blanket.
And so,
Propped
so
up
your
behind
agent
me.
called, said you have this audition, and then you put yourself on tape, sent it in, and then they called and said you got the part.
They called a couple days later and they said I got the part.
Wow. Turnaround.
How is
That's
it's so
incredible.
crazy, right? And then like a few days later, I had to fly out to Toronto and do my thing, and it was just kind of a whirlwind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was the character already named Evie Cho? Like,
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was a completely different name, and I'm trying to remember what it was,
That's so cool.
but it sounded white. So that's kind of cool. That they
Yeah,
kind of
that's
made it
awesome.
into,
Scotty Smith.
Yeah,
I
TV
think that's
show.
his name.
Yeah, they're like, we need some more, you know, they probably saw you and then came up, their like lights went off and the writers had like, oh, wait, no.
Evie Cho's a great character
Yeah,
name.
that's great.
Instant classic.
That's perfect. On that note, let's get into some quick predictions, you guys.
Oh man.
TV predictions.
Sorry, I wrote mine down and I didn't memorize it, but screw it. Off the top of my head, predictions for next week. Cosima is going to crack. I think she's been under so much pressure. She's just like everything she had is gone, and now she's dying. I don't know how she's supposed to pick herself up from that and move forward. I think we're gonna see a real like we've all seems always positive and like we're gonna make it work and I'm gonna figure out a solution. I think that stops next week, hopefully briefly. I think we're gonna see a different Cosima next week.
Okay.
Nice. I think that we're going to see a lot more of Crystal. I think she's going to start to figure out more, or they're going to bring her into the Clone Club somehow. She's going to become a part of the family. And I also think that something's going on with Helena. I think that storyline's going to get brought back in.
Please.
Where did she
miss
go? What
her.
is she doing? What type of trouble is she getting herself into?
She's so close to giving birth.
Exactly. What's going on with her?
I think they're gonna find Kendall's mom. No, I'm just kidding.
In the graveyard.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like maybe they could use Sarah to help Cosima. They're gonna find a way. It always gets really dark for them, but I don't think Cosima's gonna die. I think, and maybe she'll break, but I think she'll be okay.
I do feel like a clone will die, but I really, now that I said that, I'm like, well, it makes most sense to be Cosima, but I really don't want that. I know that you can't give us any predictions, but but the character of Evie Cho, who would be the one that you really secretly want to be friends with? The clones, out of the clones.
Oh my gosh, it would have to be Cosima.
Yeah.
Because
I think
Great
you might
minds think
admire her.
alike. Yeah.
You might like her a little bit.
Just
You need to put your cannon back in there. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Some of the fans agree. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much, Jocelyn,
so
for
much.
being
Yeah.
here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
you guys can find her on social media at Jessla Wanlin, Jessla Wanlin. You guys are amazing, and where can everyone find you?
Hey guys, you can find me at Joelle Monique and blackgirlnerds.com.
And you can find me at Amanda FTA31, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Hey, and I'm Kelly McInerney. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HollyWeirdo or Snapchat, Kelly McInerney with 3 L's.
And of course, guys, follow AfterBuzz TV, rate, review, subscribe. You can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com, Twitter and Instagram at SamD43, and Snapchat at SamDavidson25 if you want to see the shenanigans with my broken foot and my scooter. That is here right now. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.